Hey guys, this is CT here. Just gonna be doing a strat video guide on Tower of Uncanny Agony. Just for people who want to grind this tower for the first time and potentially beat it as their grind. So let's get into it. Alright, starts out pretty simple. I also put my FPS here just in case. But it's probably gonna be really laggy since I'm recording on a laptop here, so it's gonna cause a bit of lag spikes, but we'll get through it. So yeah, it starts out pretty simple. Respawn on the tower. You might want to get used to these client objects just in case, but they're all just time limits on platforms, so it's not too bad. So yeah, relatively simple gameplay. For this, be careful. You want to do a sideways head hitter like that. And another mechanic is you're going to see quite often on block ladders, so just time it right. For this part, I usually like to go for the right one first, since it's kind of a bit more tricky. That, and then rush to this one. Oh, whoops. Yeah, you're gonna see me fail quite a bit, but due to immense lag, but that's okay. Careful with the spinner, you want to get momentum like that. Time trust flicks, not too bad. Alright, and then you got a break here. Make sure to grab the one stud side here, like that. Don't go all the way up on this wedge, go to like right and like towards the middle-ish here, and then do the jump. Just a timed walk. I like to go backwards on this and jump. Make sure to stabilize the X pusher and then jump up. Careful on this, but like I like to go towards the left here and then bounce back. Careful on this conveyor, just W like that to the platform. And try not to fail this, because then you'll get nice bump progress once you make it. Just like that. Skip the entirety of what you just did. And then this part is netted. And then last bit. And then you're on 4-2. Alright, 4-2. It's gonna introduce these more of these fading walls. Careful on this flick, you're gonna wanna be as much to the right as you can, and then flick with like that. Time your trust guide around. I can get it. There we go. For this, I like to use alignment keys like this. Start tapping W, then wrap. Same thing here, touch the wall and then go through. Careful on this part, just make sure you land on the thin part. It's actually just a half sub due to the glass, so careful. This part's muscle memory, but try to get the momentum down like this. There you go. Just make sure the platform is going to go past the wall before you do that last part. Same thing, muscle memory with the deep block. Like that. Just speedrun those walkarounds. For this, go out to the very edge, then do the wrap. For this, go down a bit and then shift sideways. Do a sideways head hitter. This part is muscle memory, it's just timed. Like that. Careful with this, stick out a bit, just make sure you climb the ladder. But yeah, it starts off relatively simple though. Hit the wall and then go through fast because it'll reappear. Stick up there, do the ladder, put through, and then make sure to fit through this gap, and you get your next button progress, which allows you to skip the gameplay over there that we just did. You can just skip right to here. And then the last part of 2, you just flick across, and then you're on 3. But yeah, the beginning floors are pretty simple, though, in comparison to the second half. Make sure you land on the edge of that so that you can get the long jump. Just do it in first person just to see the gap better. Time to flick through, like that. For this, make sure you bounce to hit the wall first, and then flick through, like that. Same thing, go out as far as you can, do the wrap. Do this jump forward so that you don't get slime physics too much. Just do like a walk around kind of thing here. And then do a flick head hitter. You don't want to backtrack on the upper part so that you can get a button for more button progress. Yeah, this tower is pretty button progress heavy, so it can be annoying to loop fail for quite a while. Make sure you hit this button like that, and then you have to redo this gameplay. Just like that. Oh golly, there we go. Alright, then that's permanent button progress for the tower. As long as you don't restart your run. For this part, you're going to go against the spinner. Make sure you are aligned through the gap, not like that. There we go, like that. Yeah, make sure you're aligned through the gap. Simple jump there. Make sure you don't hit your head on the wedge, like that. Flick to the other ladder. Make sure you know what you're doing here. You're going to want to grab the truss. Flick grab. Then you want to grab the truss here, and then flick head hitter. You can like do the 13-step strat on this to make it easier. Like that. I like to set this up backwards like this, and then dubbing space. Make sure you get the right timing with the spinner, which is kind of when like the sticks are pretty close together. So like here-ish, like that. On the very top, do a flick. Do the head hitter kind of quick, because if you do it at the very top, you could easily hit your head a bit more often. And we're on 4-4, which is probably, I think, the hardest of the first half, in my opinion. Careful with this part. You want to jump out sideways and then up here. For this, get to the very front wall like this, and then just focus on jumping sideways, and then go back to getting forwards momentum. This just wiggle on the tightrope. Not too much though, so that you don't walk off accidentally. Careful on this flick, it's harder than it looks. And I just flat side because of flag. There we go. Make sure you know what you're doing here. You want to get through the wall, land here, and then jump here. Pretty simple jumps. Be careful on this part. Make sure you're landing straight on this thin part, and then shift jump. Yeah, I like to jump to the truss from the front. Get on this side, and then don't flick straight because you'll hit your head on this. So flick sideways out like that. For this, make sure you hit the wall first, and then wrap through. I like to do it in ghost mode so I can see the gap a bit better. And then we're gonna approach the first unsafe section. Just jump over that, and we are currently outside. So try not to fall here. It's a simple wrap here. I'll jump to this part. Go on the truss. Careful on this part. I believe what I usually like to do is be on this side, and then just like kind of like flick it to the button, and then land back like forwards. So like that. You can also like do a straight flick, like that kind of thing. So like go on the just like this, turn right, and then you don't even need to move your camera. Just need space to the button and then back. But clearly, I suck at it. There, like that, yeah. And then you have to backtrack. Here we go. Simple jump through the gap. On the truss. Simple flick. Careful with these beat blocks. So flick as soon as they vanish somewhat, a bit after, and then jump here. Won't jump here. Make sure you fit through the gap here. And make sure you know what you're doing here. You're going to do a 9 stud wrap, a 1.5 stud walk around, and then a ladder flick. So like this. Like that. You can also like, at this very last bit, you can also just like walk onto it and then flick. For this, make sure you're on this part. Turn like this, but make sure you hold S and A so that you don't fall off. Just hold S and A. Do the wrap. Careful on this part. This part is pretty tricky, but make sure you ledge grab here. Turn right. D and A, and then make sure you land on the bottom and then jump to here. If per chance you miss the button. Okay, well I didn't, but if per chance you miss the button, just try your best to land back here. Go here, editor. And if you make it past that, this is your first major button progress. So you get to skip that entire outside. So it'll be really good. And then you only have to do this part like only one time once you get the button, because then you can skip this. But for that wrap, just be careful. You're landing on this truss, so make sure you face forwards. Go to the very top like this. Make sure you're sticking out, and then editor. And like I said, you only have to do that once. So even if you fail, you just go back here and then progress up top. Make sure you don't touch these upper platforms when you are landing on the bottom part, because otherwise it can mess you up pretty easily. So go like, yeah, see, like that. So make sure you don't do that. What I usually like to do, I think, instead is you jump on this, go straight to the top one, and then up. So like this. That's usually what I like to do. And if you have T-pose, you can make this a bit easier, so you reduce your forwards hitbox. Alright, this part's just pretty simple jumps. Careful on the slider flick. Just doing the stick out like that, so just flick with W and A. Like that. Careful on the spinner part. Just make sure you're angled like this. Like, try to anticipate the platform that's gonna be more to the right, like that. So I'll do it one more time. Anticipate the platform like that. Don't try to aim straight for it. For this, just quickly flick up, but it's pretty much netted. Yeah, it can take a bit, like that. And we're on floor 5. Which I find this floor slightly easier than 4. Careful on this, just W like that, just to walk onto it. This part's netted, but bottom flicks like this. Careful on this part, it's timed. You're just gonna flick around like that. What am I doing? Just flick around like that. Flick to here. Yeah, don't accidentally hit the wall there. Careful on this. You're gonna wanna W and A here. Turn to right here. Do the wrap. Same thing. Careful with this. Go to like right here. Flick out, and then do that first-person camera control to the platform. Okay, this part, anticipate the B block ladder, like that. If you somehow land a bit too low on this, you can just flick up. So like, you could just flick yourself up like that if you land too low. Simple flick head hitter. Make sure you land on like the further part of this platform here, just in case. For this, be careful on the time part. Like that. You can also do it like this, like backwards. Oh, whoops. like that. You can also just do a muscle memory. Don't do this at the very top, obviously, because of the ceiling. So go to like right here, and then like wrap. Careful with this truss, you can accidentally hit it early, so you want to make sure you wrap around it and hold forwards to it and then back. So one more time, like that. You're gonna see a lot of those jumps later on. Careful with this jump, make sure you high jump it because it's 9 studs high. And then go on the spinner, walk around, hit the part, wrap. Just hold D like this. Make sure you're angled to the left so that you don't glide off on accident. Careful with this X pusher, you're gonna wanna go to right here, head hitter, flick. Sometimes I'll get stuck like that, but just in the scenario where it starts retracting back, just make sure you flick pretty fast. Don't do this at the very top because you'll hit your head, so you're gonna wanna be out like this, go to like around this part of the stud, and then D and jump. This you can just hold D and walk to it. Pretty simple wrap to here. Hold W on this so that you don't walk off, and then this, like, you can have more time than you think on these spinners. Just like wait a second and then do the jump like that. Make sure you're aligned in the middle so you won't hit these poles, and then very extra momentum like that. This part's free since it's netted, just flick like that. Alright, second half of the tower. This is where the difficulty starts to kick in a bit. So now we get these thief blocks. So if you hit them, they always teleport you back to the start of the floor. So do your best not to touch them. It's fine at the beginning of the floor, obviously, but on the later parts, it can be pretty annoying. So for this, when you get on this truss, make sure you shift your torso near the wall so that you can land pretty close to the truss like that. For this, same thing, align close to the wall, bounce like that. Just a walk around. Careful with this. I think what I usually like to do here is I do this like forwards and then wrap. You can also do it sideways like this, but I just like doing the forwards way so that you can like get the momentum better. Just a time 10 stud wrap, pretty simple. Another B block ladder. You're just gonna flick through once it disappears. 2 ways you can do this jump. The way I usually like to do it though, stick yourself out like this, go onto the conveyor, do the jump like that with D. The other way I've seen people do this, I believe, is they ledge grab like this, alignment keys. Oh my god. Yeah, ledge grab like this with alignment keys, and then the conveyor should not like push you. And then shift and jump. You can do that too, but I just prefer just doing it all in one go. It makes things like pretty simple. W and D on these trusses the whole time. What the heck? Hold on. I just need to get the momentum. Yeah, like that. Try not to like angle like this way when you're doing the truss, because then you won't like bounce towards the platform. So just make sure you face like forwards-ish like that. Time this speed block part. I did that a bit too early. Like that. Go on the conveyor here. Align on like the middle of the stud while you're holding W. Quickly shift. And then downwards momentum like that. What I mean by downwards momentum, you want to bounce when you are moving down. So show the difference really quick just in case. So here's just a regular bounce like this, just space and W. Downwards momentum. Like I'm gonna do W in space like this. That's downwards momentum. It's not really important right now, but in harder towers it can be pretty useful. For this part, be careful of the progress thief block. Flick around it, flick up. What the heck? There we go. This, I like to just do it all in one go. Just ignore the beef block. Time to stud walk around. Whoopsies. There we go. Yeah. You can like stop for like a split second on it. This, I usually like to straight flick to the wall, flick through. Careful of the wedge here. Like that. Align outwards like this. W in space. Careful on this part. Don't hit your head. Like that. You can jump up here. You're gonna have to get this button. It's just another one of these timed ladder flicks. Like that. Has also permanent button progress, but doesn't really do too much. Go to the very top. Turn left a bit. And space to truss. I mean, you can also do it from like the bottom-ish a bit. Yeah, like that. And space. Try to time this reverse head hitter when the spinner is right below you. So like that. So that you don't hit it. Be careful when going back up too, because of the hitbox. For this, make sure you stick out like this far out, like middle of the stud. And then stick out like that. Don't be too low, because then you won't be able to get on the slanted part. This part's kind of tricky. Make sure you align this far out. Shift your torso to not hit the thin pole. Down momentum. For this, stick out quite a bit. Turn like around this way, like diagonal. And then just keep brute forcing it until you walk through. Hold on. Okay, maybe it's just D. Let me see. Nope. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Try to like just get like that push through. So like, whoops. Yeah, there it is. I don't know why it wasn't working before. There, yeah. So just W and D like that through. And then last part of 6 is basically netted if you know how to save yourself. Careful on this flick, just go down a bit. What the heck? Go down a little bit, flick with D. Alright, floor 7. Probably the second hardest floor of this tower in my opinion. This part's timed, but it's netted. Just 2 flick editors. Do this timed walk like that, W and A. For this, align in like the middle of these 2 studs on the wall right around here-ish. And then jump and wrap. What the heck? Whoopsies. Hold on. I think I just did the camera control a bit wrong. Okay, stick out here. Yeah, like that. Try not to like turn in because of the ceiling. I think it was my mistake. Yeah. Yeah, just try to land like forward so that you can like grab like the wedge part just in case. Whoops. On a line here, turn left, do the wrap. Some jumps there. Get to like the top here, do the jump. For this, 2 ways you can do it. The way I prefer doing it is ledge grab here, go down a bit, shift and W and A. Other ways you can just brute force it like this, just W and then W and A. Alright, make sure you know how to lodge for this. You're going to want to lodge with W and D. Make sure you get pushed through like that, and then when you're at the very end, just start holding W. You should stay in the lodge still, like this, and then you should grab the truss. Yep. So at the very end, make sure you just hold W, so that you don't go to the side. For this, be really careful. Just flick out like that to the truss. You can also like 13 stud strat it like that if you don't like shift flicking it. Careful with this part. You're gonna wanna don't angle like straight, but like angle like kind of like this angle so that you don't hit the pole. And then just S in space down for downwards momentum. And then this part's also just kind of muscle memory. Just jump earlier than you think. You want to be on this side of the truss. Make sure you don't go to the top because that's a progress state block. And then downwards momentum here. You want to flick over to this side. Make sure you shift your torso near the wall. And then bounce off like that. And then you're on this part, make sure you land on the front side of the truss and hold W in space. So you can get up fast. Make sure you stick yourself out like this much. Do a stick out wrap like that. Make sure when you're doing these like wedge stick out wraps that you're aligning yourself straight. Keep in mind. Don't be like this, because then you're gonna see. Then you're gonna not get any momentum out for the ceiling. So make sure you do these jumps straight. I flat side because of lag, but yeah, make sure you do these jumps straight. There. Same thing with this, straight. Oh my god. Quite the downside with the low FPS, huh? Anyways, this is netted, but these are just timed ladder flicks. If I can do them. Almost did it. I don't know why I've done this. You can also just do it manually, though. What the heck? There. I don't know why I was struggling with that. Alright. And then, yeah, careful on this outside. It's really crucial to get past this outside and be pretty consistent with it, since you will get, it's probably the best progress if you can get past this. So, align here, and then on jump. Make sure to avoid the progress deep block. For this, I like to line it backwards, like this. And then, when the ladder is about to appear, D, shift flick through. I like to jump to the spin in first person so I can like see the platform better. I like to line further out like this and then jump through. Make sure you know what you're doing here. You're gonna go into the one-side gap here. Like this, yeah. It's a little easier since there's like an extra part sticking out, so just keep that in mind. For this, make sure you don't hit that wall due to the spinner momentum. So make sure you wrap out like that. For this, I always like to do it facing away from the block so that my arms don't hit it, like that. For this part, I like to do this in first person. Go like this, and then wrap out like that. Alright, this button is really crucial in this tower. If you can get this button, you skip like the hardest bits of 7. 7 becomes literally way easier. Then you want to backtrack like this, the same way. And do this the same way, just back like that. Okay, and then to get back in, go on the ladder. Don't flick on the top because you'll hit your head. So it's bottom flick. Like that. Align on the middle of the stud texture. Go down to like around, kind of around like the middle part of the wedge, like right around here. And then do the stick out wrap. Go on the ladder. Flick through to this ladder, and then flick wrap around to here. Okay, this tricky lodge, you're gonna wanna be ready for this beat block, so lodge like this. Try to lodge through fast enough with the wall, like this. When it appears, same thing. Lodge again. And then you're gonna wanna go through like that. Alright, last bit of 7. Pretty similar to Tower Fractured Memories on floor 6 if you know this jump. Make sure to line a bit up ahead of the indicated part, and then do a stick out head hitter. And then same thing, but this time be at the indicated part. Flick up like that. And then you're on 8, which is probably the hardest floor in my opinion. Make sure you don't hit that ceiling like that. Just flick with that. Alright, 8 is pretty tricky. So we're gonna wanna go on the spinner like this. Get ready to do the jump to here. Hold W on that truss before you jump off. Like as you're holding space. Hold W to the truss. And then you go to here. You can flick from the top if you'd like, just be aware of the ceiling. But I like to bottom flick it a bit. Be prepared for what's up ahead. Go on the one side gap. I usually like to go to the left parts because I'm more used to landing it on like the right side, but it's up to you. And then for this, be on the leftmost part, walk around, jump here. For this, make sure you're gonna want to grab the ledge like this. I like to face it sideways, my camera, and then head hitter like that with D. I call this the ToUA part, but easier since it's similar to the part on 6 if you know that tower. But long jump to the truss, flick around like that. For this, make sure you're at the very like front wall like this, and then D and space out like that. And then simple conveyor jump like that. Okay, for this ladder flick, make sure you're at the 6th stud. What the heck, lag? Make sure you're at like the 6th stud, so right around here, and then flick it with D. Yeah, just be aware of that ceiling. Same thing here, hold W in space, like the part on 7, but be ready to turn to the side. So like that. Long jump here, do a high jump like that. For the ladder flick, go to the side, go to NZK part, flick with W and D, and wrap around. 2 ways you can do this. You can either flick through with the B block like this to the ladder, or the other way is you do like a flick wrap to the part and then go here. I personally prefer the former. For this, trust momentum, so make sure you hold W and D like that, and then be ready to do the wrap. Just muscle memory, but it's pretty simple. Just long jump route to there. Okay, this wall hop. The way I do it is kind of weird, but it works. I usually like to face my camera like this. Do a long jump with A, and then do like use shift lock on the wall hop, and then do like a wrap. I like doing like this. It's just helps with like more of the camera movement. It's kind of weird, but it's pretty simple. Another way you can do it is like you can just face it like this and then shift flick like that, or like use like shift lock and like backwards. That's another way. I just prefer doing it the other way. I don't know why. Careful with this wrap. It's harder than it looks. You're gonna do like a whole wrap around like that, and then jump to a part like that. Last part of 8. Click to the button. Oh my god, lag spike. Give me just a second, folks. Give me just a second, because lovely lag spikes, as you can see. There you go. Flick to the button, down, click here. This is exactly why I can never record real runs on my towers, unfortunately. Ladder flick head hitter, like that. And then you should be on 9. Yep, 4-9. 4-9 is definitely easier than 8, but it's still pretty tricky. You're going to want to go on the truss like this. Don't go to the very top, but flick like to the other truss like that. Kind of when you're around the second to last truss part here. So when you're around there, just flick to the truss. This is just camera control. Make sure you're aligned straight, and then you mostly won't have to worry about the back wall. So just make sure you're as straight as possible. Freaking lag. Yeah, make sure you're as straight as possible. Then go on this X pusher, walk around. For this jump, go to the very top, tap W a bit like this. Do a sideways header so that you don't hit the wedge. Make sure you walk onto this truss. You don't want to touch that progress steep block. 2 ways you can do this. You can either bounce it like that, or you can just flick it, but be careful of the ceiling. So you want to late time your flight just in case. For this, make sure you stick your feet out, kind of like around this much. Go down to like probably I would say like I would honestly say like the 8th stud so that you don't hit the ceiling. Go on first person, shift like go into shift lock and jump through with D only. This part's muscle memory, but try to stick out like this much, like with the line behind, so I can like see the B block a bit. On jump, like wrap around. It looks pretty tricky, but it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Align with the line of the stud behind, so like right around here. Turn right a bit, do the wrap. Simple stick out. And then this spinner. Make sure you're a bit with the wall on this because you have to keep in mind of the spinner momentum. So be right near the wall. And then D in space. What the heck? Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, funny lag. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, D in space. Well, I'm pretty sure you can also do W and D. Let me see. Yeah, W and D also works. For this, be careful. Just make sure you hold W to the ladder. Like that. Just make sure you don't walk off though, so yeah. Jump out sideways and then go do the long jump from here because you have to keep into account the spinner. It's just camera control, just a slight wiggle. It's not too bad once you get used to it. And then 9 outside. Basically the last like really hard outside. So you're gonna go over here, and yeah, it's like a whole spinner thing. Get ready to jump onto this part of the spinner, like this. For this, go on like the middle of these 2 studs, like kind of like on the 3rd stud here, and then D in space through, like that. For this, try your best to hit the pole to it. Yeah, so kind of like around around here, same thing with the 3rd stud, and then W in space to the pole. For this, don't go all the way out. Go to like the end of like the 2nd most thinnest part. So like right here, and then jump to here. Stick out wrap, pretty simple. It's a 3-step walk around, but keep in mind the spin momentum, so it's easier. Like that. Reverse head hitter through. Just be careful with the spin momentum. Head hitter back. And then do this wall hop here. Like that. And as another major button progress, it allows you to skip that outside, so pretty handy. Just make sure you avoid this progress halts brick like that. Launch up to the slider here. Go to the very left edge, right here. Go down just a little bit. Flick with W and A, and you don't even need to jump. It's just a flick bounce here, like that. The key is you want to go down a bit, because if you do it from the very top, sometimes you will not get enough height for the platform. For this, what I like to do is use alignment keys. Go down. If it looks like you're hitting your head, just go down, and then be at like the highest point where you don't hit your head on the ceiling. Straight jump with D. Because sometimes when you don't align this and you just like rush it, sometimes you might get careless and hit your head, so just be careful. For this, you're gonna want to touch the wall like this, land back on the truss, flick head hitter, launch jump through. Pretty fast, but you can get used to it with practice. Avoid this progress loss thief brick. For this, align like with this part of the stud and space around. You can also like do it backwards like that if you'd like. Completely up to you. For this, be careful of the 2-stud wall there, so just make sure to wrap out a bit, like that. Last part of 9. You're gonna want to make sure you don't hit this progress loss brick, like this. Shift kind of close, but not too close, and then bounce backwards. And I got freaking lag spike, so it didn't allow me to turn my camera. Let me retry that. Like that, yeah. I just do it completely backwards so that you don't reduces your chances of hitting this progress loss brick. And then you're on 10, the last floor. This floor, even though this floor is a bit easier, it's still pretty tricky. So, and it's gonna definitely be nerve-wracking since last floor, obviously. Make sure you don't hit this truss early. You can accidentally hit this truss early, so make sure you wrap outwards more than you think. Whoops. Oh yeah, I'm stupid. I also almost forgot. You want to wrap outwards anyway because you want to hit the wall before you land on the truss. So it's like this. Yeah, you want to hit this wall before you land on the truss. Okay, this part doing first person, so you can go on this platform, and then make sure you align through the gap and jump through. For this, don't underestimate it. You want to fit in the lodge like that, W and D. Make sure you're up against the wall like this, and then just wiggle through and keep holding W and D so you can grab the truss like this. Yep. Glide around. Make sure you time this well. Gonna want to time this flick through pretty well. Like that. Okay, for this part, you're gonna want to anticipate the ladder. So like this, and then flick with D and hold up. Yeah, make sure you don't hit. You're not too close to the left because you can't get interfered with this part, and then you won't land on the center part. Okay, for this truss part, let me just wait for it to come back because I don't want it to. Yeah, let's wait for it to come back. Go on the very front. Make sure you line in the middle. Flick through the first gap. Flick around that one, and then flick back. Yeah, you want to flick through these because you don't want it to get stuck for a bit, and then it's gonna just retract even though you're still on it. For this, make sure you know where the gaps are. I personally like to just walk around and jump through this first wall so I can like get a sharper turn like that. Just for reference. Go on the side of this truss. Kind of do the flick like where the intersection of these two stud parts are. It's like kind of here. Flick with D. Just a slightly above 2 stud walk around. It's not too bad. For this, make sure you hold D against the red B block walls that you're furthest out. And then get ready to lodge right as it disappears. Like that. Just upwards flick. For this, I like to just do like a walk around jump. So use W and D first and then jump through like that. For this, make sure you stick out quite a bit, like kind of like the line of this stud of the wall. And then D in space. For this, whenever you land on ladders, please for the hecking god, go to the top of them first before you go down on them. Because here's the thing, if you go down on them with your torso, hold on. If you go down with them on your torso, yeah, see what happens? So please always go to the top before you go down. This way your torso will be at the perfect alignment. So yeah, upwards and then down. Always with ladders. Any ladder you see, always do that. Make sure you're on this indicated part. Flick wrap with W and D like that. Make sure you do the flick with W and D. This way you can get the momentum. Same thing. Go on the indicated part. It's kind of hard to see in practice because, like, I don't know why they made like the shading of this kind of weird, or the lighting. But yeah, make sure you line on the indicated part. Flick with D. You can choose either side, but same thing. Hold W in space when you are ready. Like that. This part's netted, but you're gonna do 2 ladder flicks. Like that. Pretty simple. You have all the time in the world on that part anyway. For this, same thing. Walk around strat like this. W and D, and then hold D. Just in case you need to grab the truss. Like that. Make sure you land on that part. For this, don't turn out too much. Don't turn to the right too much because you might miss the ladder. So just turn right just a little bit, like to the line of the stud is fine. get ready to land kind of low. Okay, well that was too high, but yeah, that's why you don't want to land too high either. So like land kind of low, like that, and then just flick up. Yeah, that's why you don't want to be too high on the slider, because like otherwise you'll hit your head more easily. For this, you have more time than anything on this part. Like, see, like I was standing on there for like a whole second. So make sure you time the long jumps pretty well. It's not too bad. Just a slightly timed two-step walk around. It's not too bad. For this truss, make sure you hold D all the way through and time your flick pretty fast. Like that. That was a weird landing. Hold on. Like that. Make sure you don't hit your head on that roof. So make sure you account for going out just a little bit. Basically the last part of 10, go to the side here. Do a flit to this truss and then do D in space. You want to just do D in space. You'll go up still. As long as you're facing the truss, you should still go up on it. This way you can get upwards momentum. Like that, see? And oh my god, last part of 10. Totally the hardest part. It's just a long jump. It's not the hardest thing. And then the rest is literally free, but I'll still go through it anyway. Just keep calm. As long as you do each of these jumps, which are pretty simple, you're all set. I mean, if you've done all the gameplay in this tower, you should be fine here. It's just like pretty simple gameplay to the end. As long as you know what you're doing, you'll be fine. I don't know what that dude was doing. For this, just flick up. It's not the hardest thing. Walk here. And voila, you are done with the tower. Well, I hope this guide helped y'all. Hopefully it'll help some other people in the future. And yeah, hopefully your grind on Uncanny Agony goes well. I wish you luck.